In a healthy relationship, I think it's very important that you have boundaries. In other words, you have your personal boundaries, your partner has their personal boundaries, and then you have a boundary around the relationship, right? I've been married for a long time, and long-term relationships especially need boundaries because that's how they build value, that's how they build respect, and that's how they protect each other. Now, we know that we like to practice transparency in healthy relationships. We like total honesty. We don't tolerate lies. And in fact, in my own life, I practice something called radical transparency. Radical transparency is not a total open book, like blah, because radical transparency can be misinterpreted to mean you share everything. And when you share everything, you basically lose yourself in the relationship, especially if you don't have boundaries. So you need the boundaries in place. Then you can practice radical transparency. And radical transparency means whatever is going on in our relationship, we are honest with one another. But there are times that we don't need to share that, and that goes into the umbrella of boundaries. If it's a boundary in the relationship, then it should be shared. But if it's a personal boundary, mine, then it shouldn't. It doesn't need to be. It shouldn't many times, or his. It shouldn't be. So I want to give you some examples of times I think that you don't need to share with your partner what you heard. And the first one is if you're trying to protect your privacy. Sometimes in your original family, things will come up later in life. You're an adult and you'll hear something, or you'll be talking to a sibling and they'll say something. It doesn't involve your partner. And so basically it's something from your childhood, maybe that your mom or dad did, or my parents are deceased, and there's a lot of things we uncover much later. And those are really personal to me. Those are deep in me. And I talk to my siblings, they're still alive and they went through it. But my husband, I don't feel the need to tell him that. And I think that's protected under privacy. Privacy is not something that you need to keep talking to your partner about. These are private thoughts, whether it's private thoughts, private conversations you have with family members, or whatever. Not everything should be shared. The second thing is if it's something you shared with someone that's confidential. If someone shared with you confidential some news, you shouldn't tell your partner, especially if they say, this is confidential, please don't tell anyone. They mean that. And for you to be a good friend, that means you don't have to share that with your partner. I know many couples do share, and that's their policy, and I'm okay with that. Maybe they're suspicious about other things, or maybe they have a history of other things happening and they see it as a slippery slope. That's okay, but I'm just telling you, overall, from a therapeutic advice type of thinking or context, this is what I recommend for clients. The next thing is if what you say to them is going to hurt them. Like if you look at your partner and you start seeing they're aging, or they don't look like they used to, telling your partner, wow, you really look like you're aging, that's not going to help them. It's not going to help them feel closer to you. It's not going to help your relationship. So keep some things to yourself. We all notice, if you're in a long-term relationship, you're going to notice things about your partner that are less than, or if you said it, it could hurt their feelings. So maybe they've been trying to work out at the gym and they're so excited because they're losing weight. Telling them something, you got a long way to go, or I was looking at you the other day and you look really bad. There's boundaries around that. Why would you do that? I see that as hurtful. And basically you are your partner's strengthener, encourager, and you're the one that's supposed to be supportive of what they take on, not someone who destroys them. And equally, it's kind of a slippery slope, but if you overhear someone say something despairing about your partner, it's not important for you to go back and tell your partner what you heard. Because first of all, you didn't hear it face to face. And secondly, you overheard it. You were sort of eavesdropping. And thirdly, you're not sure of the context of it. And when you tell your partner, you may make them anxious. They may act weird the next time they're around that person with no reason why. And if that person felt so strongly in what they said or their conviction, then if they're honorable, they should tell your partner. If anything, what you could go back and tell your partner is, if their name comes up in conversation, I'm not so sure they're as honorable of a colleague or friend as you think they are. Something like that will warn your partner, you know what, maybe I should just watch them a little bit or not spill my guts with them or whatever. I think that's really wise to do that. And fifth, lastly, if you're planning a surprise for them, if you're planning a surprise for your partner, then you shouldn't tell them. Shouldn't say, well, the reason I'm doing all this is because I'm getting ready. You should plan the surprise and talk to them in a way that they can change what they need to work so that you don't ruin the surprise, because a surprise is a wonderful thing. And if your partner goes, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did this, it makes them more aware that you are really a special person and that you love them and this relationship is special. And if you come out and you tell them everything that's happening because you're so righteous about never omitting the truth or lying, then there's a lot of surprises and wonderful joy that your partner is going to miss out on. So if anybody comes in and they said, well, I didn't tell my partner about that, and I said, oh, does it fit into my category of times it's okay? Then we kind of go, yeah, well, I think you have good boundaries. But if they talk about things they didn't keep from their partner, like their porn addiction or messaging with an old girlfriend or boyfriend, yeah, those are things you definitely have to talk about, because those are things that are in the relationship. So overall, practice radical transparency with your relationship, but don't practice that until you have healthy boundaries around the relationship, around your personal boundaries. Where do you begin and end, and where does your partner begin and end? Because relationships where both partners are lost in a big glob they call the relationship, yeah, that's not healthy or fun to be a part of. Create a relationship you love being part of. That's my final advice. If this video is helpful for you, please subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much.